Welcome to another episode of Travel-Preneur. I'm your host, Mega McSwain. Today we have a special guest, Kristin Richards, the creative lead and founder of Inflow Design Co. Kristin's experience spans from being an art director to empowering women entrepreneurs through design and marketing. Today she will share insights into the importance of branding in the travel business and how to leverage your website for growth. Let's dive in. Thanks for joining us, Kristin.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Kristin, how critical is a well-designed logo and the right choice of brand colors for a travel business in creating a lasting first impression?
Okay, so I like to use the analogy of your brand's visual branding because there's many aspects to branding. There's the visual side, but there's also your messaging, the customer experience. All these things create what your branding is. So on the visual side, I like to think about it like when you see someone from across the room and you glance at them, you can only visually see them at this point. It's human nature to kind of create that initial opinion about them based off just looks, right? That might change over time. You might start talking to them and your opinion may change and evolve and everything like that. But you're creating a first impression just by looking at them. And it's the same thing with your visual branding. So your colors, your fonts, your logo, the images that you use, all of these things are creating that like initial first impression. And I do want to say about the logo, which people may probably think I'm not going to share this, is like the logo actually isn't that big of a deal. A lot of people think the logo is such a big deal. It's such a small piece of the puzzle of your branding. The logo should really be legible. It should look professional. It should be clean, but it's not that big of a deal, especially in the online business world. There's so many other factors that affect your branding versus just the logo. That tends to be a relief for some people because I see clients obsess about the logo and they feel like it needs to be this like big important thing. I was like, you're really just putting it in a few places. Like people got to read it. It needs to be professional looking, but like all the other aspects are so much more important. So why all of this matters is based on that initial first impression, it may spark someone's interest to lean in and maybe read about you and learn more and stick around, or they may just pass you by. So it's that initial attraction, that visual attraction to then potentially start a conversation, to learn about you, to read about you, things like that. And then beyond the initial piece comes in the brand consistency. So brand consistency creates more brand recognition on the visual side. Color plays a big factor in this. I've definitely seen this in my business over time. I had people tell me, I can tell it's your stuff just by the look of it, by the color of it, by just the feel of it. So they recognize your brand over time, and color plays a really big piece in that. So the visual branding is creating that initial first impression, creating that spark, allowing them to potentially like lean in more if it's something that they resonate with. Not everyone's going to resonate with it, and that's fine. You're not meant to, be for everyone. Just like in dating, like you're not meant for everyone. You're looking for your people or your person. And it's the same thing like with that client. Like you're looking for that client that resonates with you, and then consistency over time creates that brand recognition.
And can you explain how the psychology of colors, I know you mentioned colors just now, how that psychology of colors impacts customer perception and behavior in the travel industry?
Yeah. So the travel industry with color psychology, I mean, it's just like any other industry and any other experience with color. I like to use the example of like the color of a room. So imagine like walking into a room and it's painted like a soft blue. And like, how does that make you feel? Usually when I say this, people will say like calm, peaceful. It just, those are like different forms of those words tends to be what come out. That's the feeling that it creates. It literally creates a physical reaction. And then we create impressions in our mind based on how we physically feel about what that means to us. And then imagine if you open another door, you walk into like this really bright red room. That's going to create a different feeling in your body. And then you're going to create an opinion about that. I've had people, when I use this analogy, like some people in the red room like love it. They feel energized. And some people are like agitated. It just like, yeah. And it also depends on the hue of the color, the value of the color. So if that, blue is an electric blue, it's going to create a different feeling than a soft pale blue that I was talking about earlier. It's not so much to say like all blues mean calm and relaxing. All reds mean, we got to think of like a stop sign. It's like literally like a warning sign, but it also can be related to like love, passion. If it's like a wine color, that's going to create a different type of feeling. So there's so many different shades of color, saturation of color, value of color that create these different feelings, literally physically within us. And that creates a psychological like meaning. So when you're looking at creating your brand colors for your travel business, I like to start with how you want people to feel when they interact with you. How do you want people to literally feel when they encounter your brand? Because the color is going to help create that feeling inside of you. And then we use those answers to direct us with choosing different colors. And your brand colors are made up of a variety of colors. You're not just picking soft colors, you're just picking bold colors. You need to have a mix so that you can layer them appropriately and things can be legible. If everything's light, you can't read anything. If everything's dark, you can't read anything. So you need that depth of different ones so you can kind of create your own mix, like a unique mix to create your own personality with your brand just by mixing around colors. So we can have almost the same brand colors, but you throw in a pop of another color and all of a sudden it like adds that like dash of another personality.
Right. And from your extensive experience in design, can you share an example of a travel business transformation that you maybe have witnessed through effective branding?
Sure. So a client of mine from a few years back, she was a little bit, she was in this existing business, feeling a little bit lost in her branding. She didn't have quite the confidence to niche down in her offering. And she was a little all over the place with the look of her business. She literally would tell me like, I don't even want to send people to my website. I don't even want to like have it out there because I'm embarrassed of it. It doesn't represent like how I feel inside. So she wasn't putting herself out there. She literally wasn't even using her website. And then part of her brand is your niche. Like your niche is a part of what makes your brand your brand. And because she wasn't as honed in with exactly what type of travel focus she wanted, she was a little all over the place. It wasn't as clear. So going through her process working with us, she did one of our courses that I think helped more with the niche part before we actually did her brand design. And at the end of all of this, she niched out specifically into cruising. So she literally cut out all the other types of trips that she was planning for clients and only did ocean cruising and river cruising and like really owned it. As far as her website, that was all over her website, all in her messaging. You redid everything. So it was modern, clean, easy to navigate. She was actually proud to send people to that website finally and proud and clear and confident in herself to like put herself out there more. And from then her business has just like exponentially grown in that particular niche. And now she's really seen as an expert in like the river cruising and ocean cruising field. She has a partner in that. So one focuses on like ocean and she focuses on river because it's like where her passion is. So people feel that passion and it has allowed herself to be like on boards of different organizations within the cruising industry and just expanded her business so much because she allowed herself to step into what she really wanted to do. And then on the visual side of her branding with our designs, created the professional look to kind of get behind that direction so she could confidently put herself out there. So I just love that example because it's kind of like a great before and after of someone. It's different when you're brand new because you're not really out there yet. There's not as much of like a before because you're like, there is no anywhere, right? But when you're existing and you're just like kind of a big mix of everything and you're not like stepping into who you want to be and then feeling confident. It's kind of like when you put on when you like take a time to like fix your hair, put on an outfit, you're looking good. Like you feel so much more confident. It's kind of like that sometimes with the visual side of our like company as far as design. That just adds those little extra touches where we're like, hey, if I did reach out to this company and they went to my website, I would feel really good about that.
Right. Yeah, it helps you stand out for sure. I can't imagine in this day and age not having a website that you could like use for your business. I mean, that's, it's almost like having a business card. You have to have one.
I like to say it's literally like the digital business card these days.
Yeah, it is. You have to have one.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are the key elements of a travel advisor's website that make it a powerful tool for gaining visibility and establishing credibility? I mean, like we mentioned, you have to have something like that. Like these days, even social media, if you don't have social media, it's kind of like, oh, wait, is this company legit or not? So
exactly,
are there any, tools that people can use to gain visibility, when having all these things that they're supposed to have?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. People like they want to feel like you're legit or established or professional. The social media accounts, you don't have to be everywhere with social media. I feel like pick the ones that you really want to do and do those, and then have the website, right, that looks professional and clean and easy to navigate and all those things. Um, what we want to make sure to do as far as allowing that to gain visibility and credibility, when they get to the website, it does need to be professional, because that's what's going to help establish the credibility. If it's not very mobile friendly and they can't really navigate it on the phone, half the people usually coming to your site are on their phone. So that's going to be something that's kind of a deterrent for people. So you want it to be mobile friendly. You want it to speak like it and connect with someone. A lot of people overlook the messaging side. They're very stuck on the visuals and they like, people don't read, blah, blah, blah. Some people don't read as much, but there's a lot of people that still do. And so having messaging that really connects is very important as well. You want to also...
This episode is brought to you by Travel-Payments.com. Travel businesses have unique needs when it comes to credit card processing. From large average ticket sizes and tolerance for higher chargeback ratios to simple integrations with the most popular shopping cart systems, the travel industry specialists at Travel-Payments.com have you covered. Unfortunately, many of the most popular credit card processors initially accept travel businesses, but without warning, freeze their merchant accounts and the thousands of dollars in them because these service providers don't understand or support the unique needs of travel industry business. Don't get stuck with one of the big guys who will freeze you out without a moment's notice. Instead, work with the travel industry specialists who will support your business every step of the way. Visit Travel-Payments.com to get a free quote today.
Remember that your website is such a great place to just be found online. It doesn't mean like right when you go live, everyone's going to find you on the internet, because especially with like SEO and search engines, it does take time for your website to like gain that online. But what I love about the website versus social media is that when people do land on it, it is like your place that you've curated exactly what your company is all about, your mission, what it looks like to work with you in an organized, clean manner. Versus I feel like social media is great, but it's like a bunch of little random things that they might see this post, they might see that. But when someone lands on the website, you can really like curate them through that process.
Right. The website's not changing like social media is every day. Like social media, you could post literally multiple times a day. So they might not be seeing exactly what you want them to see.
Totally. I had a client, I don't remember how long it was after her website launched, at least a year or something. But she messaged me and said, it was a family member or something that shared about her business on social media. A friend of hers then clicks on it, goes to her website, and ended up booking it with her. This is a 6-figure client booking from this random person who came over to her website. And she literally told her, the reason why I reached out to you was because of your website. Like, that's what the client said. And then she has a 6-figure booking. Not that that's happening like every day. I mean, that would be great, but it's possible. And then when they get there, it's like once they land on the website, the right person, because not everyone is going to be the right person. We don't have to convert everyone, because probably not everyone is the right person for you. But we want to make sure that it's going to look professional. It's going to be clean. You've chosen like colors and fonts thoughtfully. The imagery makes sense. The messaging is relevant. A lot of people have like outdated messaging. Well, it's not really how I work anymore, though. That's not really like who I work with anymore, because they just haven't kept it up to date. So when all of those things really connect, you're able to book more clients. And then, I think we're going to maybe get into a little bit more of engagement conversions later, but those are just some ways to help you, that the website helps to create more of that visibility and credibility.
So how can travel professionals specifically, if you can kind of offer your opinion on this, how do they use their website to enhance customer engagement? Like we know people can do things directly. Like you can schedule consultations or appointments on Calendly now, which is nice for travel professionals to maybe set appointments. Is this kind of something that you would recommend travel professionals do to kind of up their, I guess, business leads?
Having a website versus just like having a calendar booking?
Right. Like having kind of trying to increase engagement on these websites.
Yeah.
with actual customers?
I would say a big thing with engagement, it can come down to messaging because the design is what's going to draw them in first. It's going to make them think, do I want to actually like stick around more than like 2 seconds, or am I bouncing away? It's that initial
Right.
attraction. And then it's like even if they don't decide consciously, if it looks professional and clean and attractive, they take it more seriously versus if
Sure.
they can't read things, or if you were using blurry images and things like that. But what after that, to get them to stick around and to do something, your messaging is where more of the connection happens. So you want to make a connection with them in their writing. And I think a lot of people overlook this because, like I mentioned earlier, they feel like people don't read anything, or I don't want too much writing, so they barely have any writing. And there's
Right.
so many people that do read, and that's where you're really making that connection. They may be making like a bond with maybe what your company is all about. You're addressing what their struggles are. You're addressing, the benefits and the value that you bring in your services. A lot of people might not understand fully what you do as a travel advisor. They think, what's the difference between travel advisor, travel agent? They don't understand like all the extra benefits that they could be getting with you booking these trips for them, all the suppliers you have connections with, like the benefits of like staying at these hotels, like the early check-ins and like all the little bonus things. I definitely got them now that I've learned about them. I reach out to some like clients like, look, this is all for me. A lot of people have no idea what any of that means. So that happens through your messaging. It's not happening through pretty photos necessarily. That might shock them,
Right.
but we really need to explain the value that you bring, all the things that you're saving them from, like all the wasted time, all the like they could be using that time to spend with their family or to earn more money. Like there's so many things that come through in the messaging that then get them to step forward and decide, hey, I want to contact this person. Another really important thing will be the opt-ins, because not everyone is ready for you right when they land on your site. Some people find you, maybe they're just not with phase where they're planning a trip yet. Maybe it's not for months later, but if you happen to have an opt-in that they connected with, and they got your freebie, now they're on your email list, and you can continue to nurture that relationship until maybe it is the right time.
Sure. Inflow Design Company, or sorry, Design Co. Emphasizes the alignment of business strategies with personal values. How does this philosophy impact the branding and web design services you offer to travel entrepreneurs?
So we only offer services that we love doing. Like some people, and this is relevant to like if you're someone in travel thinking about what services you offer. When you're only offering things that are like in your zone that you're passionate about, that everyone's going to win. Like it's going to shine in the work that you do and the excitement in your company. It can be easy to feel like, well, I can do all these things, so why won't I do them? Because someone will pay me to do them. I had this, I think in the early stage of my business where I offered extra things that I was just kind of figuring out who I was as like a new company, and that I let go and really streamlined to only offer the types of services that we offer, because that is what we're best at. And that's what I'm most passionate about. So that would be branding. And then what's unique about our website services is that we only offer template customizations for our templates. I really don't believe anyone needs like a custom website unless, I mean, some people do, but it's a whole different type of maybe industry than a travel advisor. There's just no need to invest that much, all that like the extra time and work and money that goes into something from the ground up. It's just something that you don't need. I will never sell someone something that they don't actually need. So at a certain point, I decided to cut out any custom website services. Everything is based on the templates. And that just feels really aligned with the direction that we want to go in. Freedom is a really big value of the company, and people interpret freedom in different ways. I have employees who interpret freedom as, being able to cut off work and like disconnect. They're not the business owner. So it's following them around like it tends to follow us around sometimes. They can just like disconnect. Another one of my employees, the fact that she can work from anywhere, create her own schedule, is a really big value of freedom for her. For me, I find a lot of freedom too when there's a lot of streamlined processes. I find when there's like organization and a flow to your process, it creates a lot more freedom and ease in how you work. And so because we're really honed in with our services and we've cut out working with like any type of niche, like we want to focus on our favorites, which travel is about 75% of our clients. I started a company to begin with to be able to travel and then moved to Australia. So it's a really big part of like the brand coming to be from the beginning. And so really honing down the services and then creating all those streamlined processes that allow things to just flow. Like everything just feels so much more natural, easy, flowy for everyone involved. If you're kind of doing a bunch of all these different things, it's hard to create more of a flow in a system. It's different. It's, you know, you're reinventing the wheel every single time. And then also the way we work with our clients is very aligned with our values. So for us, flexible schedules where we can work around our families is really important. We work with a lot of women. Women is kind of our niche. We still have male clients. It's not that we only work with women, but that tends to be who we market to. And it's a really important value of mine that, you know, we're working remotely on our own schedules to work on our families. You know, I have a 2.5-year-old. My project manager has 3 kids. One of my designers just had her second baby. That's an important value that we mix into like how we work with our clients. Also having, you know, clear boundaries around work and personal life, operating from a place of honesty and integrity. All these deeper values come through in not only like the type of work that we offer, but how we actually work with the clients. And it's kind of scary if I was like find someone online, I'm like, here's thousands of dollars. I hope you make something I like.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, just to allow them to feel that sense of like trust and security. Just always operate from like honesty and integrity is important to me because sometimes
That's probably
like not like something in the beginning. Not everyone loves everything you do like first draft. It's normal when we create for other people, and so just reassuring that like we always get there in the end. It's like I think some people have been screwed over by people in the past where they just couldn't get there and it never went anywhere. And now they waste all this money and they have something that they don't like. I have people that come to us who've had that experience and I would just never let that happen. And so, yeah, kind of the types of services we offer and then how we work as a company ties back to our values.
And you offer specific marketing courses for your clients as well. How do these help in positioning a travel business effectively in such a crowded market?
Well, okay. So first with the crowded market thing, that piece in my mind is a huge mindset piece because it's actually not crowded. We want to pretend it's crowded and then we feel like it's crowded because we're in it. Like when people are out there, your ideal client isn't exposed to all the things that you're exposed to. They're not connected with all of these other like profiles on social media that are now like serving them ads and like showing them all of this content. So it tends to sometimes feel more saturated than it really is. I feel like when people are coming from the sense that it's a crowded market, either you're not really like owning you. I feel like we are the niche. When you really tap into your values, your passion, your specific person you want to work with, your specific services, and then you're making design choices based on all of these things. Like you're creating your own niche just by being yourself. And there's no one else like you. Even if the brand, you might not be like, you might not have a brand that's named after you, but you're still such an important part of that. And we really create our own niche. So really operating from an abundant mindset versus scarcity mindset is, oh, it's oversaturated. There's so many people. They're already doing what I want. Why should I bother? Well, I'm not going to stand out. No one's going to pick me. Like all like scarcity, scarcity, scarcity. But when you operate from an abundant mindset where there's like always more clients and like you are the unique point of your company, that's a great place to start. So I feel like getting that out of the way is such a good thing, a good relief to feel. And then going into our courses. So our main course is called Brand Your Vision. It's a branding course. So it incorporates marketing aspects because we need to think about marketing strategies when branding your business. So it goes through my intentional branding framework, which would be clarity. Like we need to get clear on that. A lot of the things I was just talking about, who you are as a company, your values, your focus, your niche, not only your service niche. So we have different niches. We have like the client niche and then our service niche. So we want to get really clear on the deeper levels of you as a company, as well as the benefits that you bring and the outcomes. A lot of people focus on the features. So you get a complimentary consult call. I'll make, an a customized itinerary based on our call. You get maybe X amount of edits. I give you all your travel documents. I give you support during your whole trip, XYZ. Like all of those things are great. But then what are the benefits of that? Well, you're saving them time, you're saving them energy. They're able to like take a trip they maybe could have never created on their own. And what are the outcomes of those benefits would be like extra time spent with their family, like lifelong memories. Like people don't take it that far always in their marketing. And so this is kind of all covered in like the clarity piece of that. And then we take all of that and also want to create connection as well. So once we really understand who we are, who our ideal client is on a deeper level, we're able to create more of a connection with them through messaging and how we talk about our company. And then all of that informs the conscious design piece. So we want to be making design choices in this course, you go through all the typical branding things like making your brand color palette, using color psychology, choosing your brand fonts. A lot of people don't think that much about the fonts, but fonts really do play a big role in the impression of like creating a really high-end looking brand or creating one that feels more like casual. Or I see people making those statements. Yeah, like they pick fonts that feel, to me anyway, more like childish, but yet they want a high-end luxury client. They just don't think about the fonts. So you go through like understanding more about typography and then creating your logo. So it's a lot of more in-depth at the beginning and then being able to actually create the core aspects of your branding based on all of that. It goes through like imagery style as well. A lot of people wonder like, how can I make my images feel more consistent? They feel like all over the place, especially if you're taking out from your phone. Having decided like, what is my imagery style? Like, is it going to be like bright, saturated? Is it light and airy? Is it like dark and moody? Is it more just like natural? Like all of that can play into visual branding.
And sometimes I feel like just honing in on one thing is such a big step because it's like everything you can see other people's websites or other people's branding and say, oh, that looks good. This looks good. And you just can't narrow it down to something. So you just end up getting a hodgepodge. So I think like for me, I'm using myself as an example. I know honing in and sticking with one style is such a hard thing to do.
Yeah. And I think sometimes you don't have the extra information about how to help you make the decision.
Right.
Or like you're just picking random colors. Well, we want to make sure, we have, like I was kind of mentioning earlier, like a darker medium light. And it just kind of helps you rule things out. Oh, you don't want it. You want it to feel like light and airy. Well, we need to pick like desaturated colors and like, or you want it more energized. Maybe you add like a pop of energy with one pop of color, but everything else maybe is more neutral or like, having more of the strategy knowledge behind it helps guide choosing that. And then you can just weed out stuff that you don't want. Sometimes it's helpful to be like, okay, I don't really know what I want yet, but I know what I definitely don't want.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good place to start for sure. Eliminate what you don't want.
Yeah.
In the way of free resources, how do those play in supporting entrepreneurs? How should they be utilized to maximize a business's online presence?
So a free resource probably would be like a freebie. Sometimes people call it like an IFO, irresistible free offer. There's like so many different lead magnet. Like there's a lot of different names for that. A lot of people don't understand what this is, to be honest, when they come to work with us and you're like, are you going to do a freebie on your website? And they're like, I don't know what that is. So what a freebie is like if you go to someone's website, usually you see it as like an opt-in area on the homepage, potentially as a pop-up where they're offering something to you that you have to put your email address in to get. That might be a guide. That might be like a checklist. It might be a quiz. It could be like, there's so many different things. I have people ask, well, what should mine be? I'm like, that's like, how am I supposed to like know that? There's so many factors to go into that and there's so many options, but it's something that they're getting for free in exchange for the email address. So the benefit for you is that you're growing your email list. Why do we want to grow the email list? It's a way to then continue a relationship with someone directly in their inbox versus even if someone follows you on social media, your content's only being shown to them in such a small little window, if at all. Like it reaches such a small percentage. Doesn't mean everyone's going to open up your emails, but the percentages of people like viewing your emails versus happening to stumble across their social media posts, it's literally in their inbox, is going to be a lot higher. So you're then able to nurture the relationship. The freebie itself, too, strategically should be a way to build your like, know, trust factor. So they're learning more about you. They're seeing like, oh, they really know this particular area. You're just kind of creating that relationship. I always say you want to create a freebie that positions you as like the next natural step. Or if you notice a pattern of people in consult calls asking the same type of questions, turn that into a freebie because they're clearly wondering that. Those have been, I think, some of my best freebies was that turning information I got, like patterns that I saw into, okay, clearly we want this. Let me just create a free resource for this. And like I was mentioning earlier, not everyone's ready to work with you right away. I've had people on my email list for like over a year and it just wasn't at the right time. And then all of a sudden they reached out, oh, I've been like reading your emails for however long or, whatever. I had this one client who booked in recently and she kind of like holds up all of my freebies. Because I've made freebies over the years. There's like a niche market freebie, a naming your business freebie, like all this stuff. I've done all of these, like I'm ready. I'm like, oh, you didn't have to do all of those, but like it just wasn't the right time for her. So it was better for her to consume free content for now. And then she decided she wanted to invest. It was the right time. So you can be growing that email list to be able to market directly in someone's inbox and then just nurture the relationship because it's not always the best time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And when you hear something like that, it just proves to you like, gosh, all this is working. That made a difference to someone. And now I've got this client that
it doesn't like
nurtured alongside.
Yeah, it's not like it always happens immediately. Some people are like, oh, well, it's not like doing anything. I'm like, well, how long have you been doing it? Are you actually sharing the freebie? So people forget that they have it and it's just on the website, but are you promoting it and sharing
it? Promote it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then is there some type of actual follow-up? Like, are you actually doing email marketing? Or are you just doing freebie and then, not doing any type
of process
follow-up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kristin, thank you so much for all of this. I mean, I know how important branding is, but it's really nice to get a reminder of all these little things that go into it. The logo, the colors, the font, everything. So thank you so much for sharing the importance of branding and web design in the travel industry. Let our followers know where they can learn more about you and Inflow Design Co.
Sure. So you can go to inflowdesignco.com. It'll then send you in a few directions. We have a website that's only for travel. It's a whole shop that's only travel. All of our templates are specifically designed for travel advisors for websites. So you just click travel advisors and it goes to your little website. And then you can find us on Instagram at Inflow Design Co. Well, wait, it's inflowdesign.co.
Okay. inflowdesign.co. Okay. Okay, got it. Well, great. And claim the freebies, right? When you see a freebie, claim.
There's a bunch of freebies. I do have freebies for travel. There's one specifically for travel advisors. So go grab those out. There's some on the homepage.
Great. Amazing. Well, thank you, Kristin. And to our listeners, please remember to follow and subscribe for more episodes. Leave us a review and share your thoughts on today's topic. Until next time, keep exploring and growing your travel ventures. Thank you, Kristin. Take care.